Okay, this is Jen Healy. I'm back with another video for the virtual training that I'm offering this weekend. And I want to continue on with shoulders, opening up the shoulders and talking about the spiral dynamics in the body and adding some new material about understanding the energy lines and how that works with the anatomy. So a lot of times I'm going to be sharing with you poses that you've seen before, but what's new in the material is putting it all together to understand the physical body, the energy body, the mind-body connection, and how that works with the energy field around the body. So we've been working on the alignment. So let's continue from there. So we're working on the alignment of the spine. So I want to bring more awareness and encourage you to find the crown of the head in relationship to the pelvis and then center yourself in the heart. So the heart is the center of like a seesaw, and where the head goes and the hips go are really, really important to keep it all lined up. So now we're doing that vertically. If the head is too far forward, it pushes the hips back. If the hips are too far forward, it'll push the head back. We're trying to find this nice, long, vertical axes. And that way we can work with the major hubs of the body, the hips and the shoulders, and start to work with the spiralizing of the energy through these joints. Because these joints are ball and sockets. They're not flat surfaces like a hinge with the elbow and the knees. So the ball and sockets need to rotate externally and internally. So when we have our hands up in this position, it's kind of like a cactus, right? I call it the flex position. So with our hands up and our elbows coming forward, our thumbs coming towards our ears, right? Not the thumbs down, but the thumbs up. Then this is going to externally rotate the shoulders. This is super duper important. So a lot of poses we'll get into, people will have their hands down by their waist, and this closes the shoulder. This position opens the shoulder. And the same with the hips. When the hips are internally rotated, our toes turn in, and when our hips are externally rotated, the toes turn out. Most people are too externally rotated in the hips, so we're going to work on internal rotation, and most people are too internally rotated with the shoulders, like typing, driving, and we're going to work on the external. So we want to work both directions, right? So we were just working on the legs. We'll come back to that and add the internal and external rotation, but let's really get into the shoulders, especially if somebody is experiencing a shoulder injury, or if you find it uncomfortable to hang by your arms. It means the shoulder isn't tracking in the joint, and we want to start to open up the shoulder girdle and help with that. Okay, so what we're going to do is go ahead and grab for the leg loops in our hands, and we're simply going to walk forward and back. So I'm going to keep my hands exactly level, thumbs turned up, and I'm going to walk forward, walk forward, walk forward as much as possible, and then press, 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 come on back. Okay, hands are going to be right in front of you, and they're going to be tight on the leg loops, and then we're going to inhale, press forward with the chest, not the head. Walk forward until there's tension on the leg loops, and then press, 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 nice and strong. Squeeze towards the center line. So nice long lines of energy. Inhale, extend and press. Let that feel good. And then once you're here, it's like doing flies. You're going to use the strength of the arms to squeeze together and walk the feet back at the same time. Let's do that a little faster. Inhale, press, 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 and then exhale, squeeze all the way. I'm going to try to stay in the frame here, but you might lose me for a second. Inhale, press, and exhale, walk it back, squeeze. Cool. Now we're going to stay here and keep working with the shoulders. I'm going to step forward. I'm going to have my right foot in the center of the mat, and then I'm going to come into a long lunge. So make sure that your toes are coming all the way forward so that when you bend your knee stays in alignment with your ankle. My hands are going to be no more than shoulder distance apart. And then I'm going to use my core when I bend and straighten the leg. When you're pressing down with your arms, I call it using the underbelly of the arms here, it's going to really strengthen the intrinsic muscles that will support the joint. So we're going to inhale here, exhale, press and lift. Inhale, lower. Exhale, press and lift. And then if this feels easy to you, I want you to try to lift your toes and keep the legs straight as you come back, and then bounce back into a lunge. So you're really using your arms to lift your entire body, and then using your core to lift your leg. Go ahead and come through 10 of those. And then on the last one, coming to the center of the mat. Just take a moment to give it a twist, play a little bit in the space. Remember to always come back to your pillar. And I'm keeping the arms nice and strong and straight to get the nerve stretch. So we're working those energy lines. Okay, second side. I'm going to step forward with my right foot all the way. You can do this with bent arms, but let's try straight for the first one. So I'm bending the front knee, no more than over the ankle, keeping the arms shoulder distance, and then I'm lifting and pressing straight legs. Inhale, bend, exhale, press. Inhale, and exhale. Inhale, and exhale. Use your core. For the last few, try to lift the leg when you inhale up. And come on up. Use your breath. Inhale down, exhale up. Inhale and exhale. They should be hard. And lift, come on back. Okay, take a moment to play in the space. We're going to do a few more rounds with push-ups and bent elbows. The arm straight is harder. The bent elbow should be a little bit easier. So let's see how that goes. Let's give it a try. Bend the elbows, come up onto the toes, feet in the center of the mat, and we're going to press and lift. Lower down. Press and lower. Press and lower. Press and lower. Notice I'm leading with my heart. You really don't want to drop the head here. You have to push the hips forward and keep the hands directly underneath the shoulders. They tend to go too wide. Okay, so pull them in tighter towards the center line. Let's do 10 more. Press and lift. Keep the axes, the pillar, running along the spine. Core engaged, that's why we did all that great core work. And then press with the arms. Come on back. Whew. Let's just do a little twisting and playing here from side to side. We'll get all our strengthening done early. That way we can just focus on stretching for the second half of the day. Let's walk it out to a wide straddle. Bend the elbows and hook, right? So remember my hands, my thumbs are up on my ears. I don't want my hands to come down by my waist. So we're keeping that external rotation. We're gonna press forward, press the hips forward, get a big stretch, and then go ahead and lean back. Just rocking back and forth a few times, pulling the shoulders apart, getting a big stretch through the chest, letting that feel good. Rocking forward and back, that's it. Nice and easy. Okay, we're gonna do a few more strengthening exercises here. And I just want you to try it and see how it feels. We're gonna come forward, we're gonna lift the chest and squeeze the leg loops onto the shoulders. Okay, keep the hips pressing forward, keep the alignment of the spine. So when you bend the elbows, make sure the thumbs come up to the ears, and then press and squeeze as you're leaning forward. Should be a little bit harder. You have more of your body weight in your arms now. It's a little different than just our push-up position, right? We're working the fascia. Squeeze and lift. My hands are squeezing down together on a diagonal in front of me. Keeping the core nice and engaged, pushing the hips forward the whole time. Head stays in line with the body, and squeeze. Let's just do a few more of those. Inhale and exhale. Really good. Up on the tippy toes. Inhale and exhale, squeeze. Alrighty, let's come on back to the elbow hang, thumbs up by the ears. Sway it out, try some lunges, play, have some free time. Utilize the twists and the spins. Have some fun with it, even if it feels pretty intense on the arms. It can also be fun and flowy, and more playtime in the middle helps to do the strengthening and to enjoy it. So now we're going to do the same thing where we just do from straight arms, squeeze, coming wide. This time I'm sinking the hips back. It's like flapping my wings. Straight arms, thumbs up. So thumbs up creates the external rotation. I'm letting the leg loops slide up and down in such a way that I'm releasing the fascia, the connective tissue. So I'm digging in. So if it feels a little owie as you slide up and down, that's actually the good stuff, because we have to get that fascia open for the muscles to work and turn on again. Especially the intrinsic muscles. If we use too much weight, the big muscles take over, and we're trying to get those small muscles that are right around the shoulder joint to come back online. Okay, great. This time we're going to reach back, grab onto the leg loops with our hands as we're transition into a wrist wrap, and do the same play time where we're doing some loop-de-loops, swaying from side to side, swag it out, add some twists. And from here, we're going to press all the way forward and then lift back. Lift your toes, press all the way up onto the tippy toes, hips forward, big stretch, and then all the way back again. Inhale, lift, and roll it back. So coming from a forward fold into a low peppermint patty is typically what I call it. And then when we're here, we're going to walk together. We're going to walk our feet 1/4 of the way to the front of the mat, and we're going to stay in a forward fold and walk it out here, stretching the back body, hands suspended towards the sky, and bending one knee at a time. Twist and look over the shoulder as you walk in place from side to side. Give the back body a really big stretch. One more time, low peppermint patty, you can do it. Press, 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 big stretch, and come on back up. Woo! Shake it out for a second. We're gonna do some rotations in the shoulders. Let the blood come back into the hands. That was so wonderful but intense. So now what we're going to do is try rotating in the shoulder joint using our wrist wraps. Doing a bunch of shoulders right now, and then we'll switch it up and go back and forth to the hips. So what I'm doing is I'm just hanging straight down, right? I'm coming into a side lunge, right arm extended up. And I'm rotating my thumb back, and then I'm rotating my thumb forward. And then I'm going to start to add more of the whole body movement into the practice, just one arm at a time. The other hand can just be relaxed, exploring in this space. What I'm doing is rotating in the shoulder joint, turning the thumb in and out. And at the same time, extending through the side body, stretching the intercostals, getting the underbelly of the arm to stretch, and the rotation in the shoulder joint. If there's one part that feels a little sticky, just use more of your feet. Not as much weight in the arm, because you don't want it to be uncomfortable. We're just looking for lubrication of the shoulder joints. Second side, extending the left arm. I'm coming into a lunge this way, and turning the thumb all the way back behind me, and then turning the thumb, rotating a full 360 degrees in the shoulder joint. I'm incorporating more of my body to spin. Now 2, looking under, looking over. So this is our warm-up lap. Doing it being nice and easy and slow. And then we're going to try to do a little bit more of a dynamic, playful movement once the shoulders are warmed up. Your hand will tell you when you're done. I basically hang for a minute or two on each side, and then we're going to go for a full spin. So we're basically going to hang all of our weight and then just spin around and play with the swing. Going one direction, and then the other direction. Ooh, and take a moment so you don't get dizzy, and let's try the other side. So we're doing the full body hang with a spin. You can just hold on to the leg loop so it doesn't bop you, or just let them fly and play. Doesn't really matter. Woo! Yay. So we want to make sure that the joint is happy and can spin in all directions before we go into a full body hang where we're supporting all of our weight. That was really good. So the last one we're going to do, I'm actually going to go ahead and try in this direction to show you how to do the wrist wrap coming forward into the TRX moves. And I'm going to just drop my hips and gently rock from side to side. Oh, feels really, really good. From here, I'm going to lift up, bicep curl on a diagonal, and go ahead and do some pull-ups. Let's do 5 pull-ups, keeping the diagonal, and then lower back down. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. So I'm arching from the back of the heart, and I'm pressing my feet into the ground to lift and keeping my head in line with the spine. When you come back down, do some twists at the bottom. I'll turn around now and we'll go in the same direction. I just wanted to show you what that looked like from the back, so you make sure you get the diagonal. And I'm going to lower down. Go ahead and play and twist from side to side. Let that feel good. Deepen the breath, right? Always stay connected to the breath. And then do some bicep curls. Bicep. Keeping the nice long diagonal, leaning back. It makes it way harder. Bicep, lift and lower. Okay, once we get down here, let's go ahead and hang out on the ground. We're just going to do a few moments of playtime where, again, we're stretching the shoulders as well as strengthening and playing from side to side. I want you to notice if one shoulder feels a little bit painful or sticky, or if there's a part in there that isn't moving or tractioning like the others. It's okay, but we definitely want to notice that. And then we're going to come to center and hang out in our wide straddle. So once we come into our wide straddle, we're going to change the holding on with our fingertips. What we want to do here is open up the chest by pressing the pelvis forward and keeping the arms extended. Do not drop the head, right? It's a habit. We're going to pull up and out through the spine. So the first thing we would need to do is learn how to rock the pelvis. Okay, so when we rock the pelvis forward and back like this, I'm going to keep my chest lifted and my head in line with the body. I'm bending at the hip crease instead of the waist. So keep the arch in the lower back and push the pelvis forward, rolling your pubic bone under and shooting your tailbone back. It's going to feel way different with the arms extended. You're not going to come down nearly as far, but it's a great stretch for the shoulders. And then we're going to do these tiny little lifts and lower, lift and lower. Lifting straight up, getting as much space as possible and keeping the back flat as you lower. And then do the same thing from side to side. Stay lifted. Use the arms to extend the spine. And then lift and lower as you come forward and back. Getting as much room and as much space for the lumbar spine to push the hips forward. Flex the toes back if you are comfortable with that. It's going to make it a little bit more of an intense stretch. Just take a moment to freestyle, free flow. We can add a twist here and come from side to side. These are some of my favorite poses to do. Not only getting the suspension and the extension in the arms, but you get to open up the side body too. Leaning in, letting the head rest, really getting into the obliques. Feels so good. And you can even switch arms to touch the toes. Have some free time. Make it up. See what feels good. A lot of these stretches are super hard for people to get into, so using the swing for support, even if it's just holding on with your fingertips, is going to make all of the difference. Okay? We're going to lean back, slide your bum to the center of the mat, and come into a fish pose where we lift the heart. Let the crown of the head roll back to the back of the mat. And do some tiny little lifts here. Tiny little micro movements of rolling the shoulders around. Make sure the neck is happy. And focus on stretching the chest up towards the sky, keeping the arch. And then come on into a forward fold, just leaning forward, rocking the hips back from side to side. We're going to end this sequence in a child's pose, so I'm going to have you come to your side, roll onto your shins, and we're going to do a little bit more gentle cool down shoulder work with a grounded child's pose. Forehead towards the floor, arms extended back. Do that same movement where you're rolling the thumbs out and then rolling your thumbs in, rotating fully around in the shoulder joint, lubricating, getting more fluid flow and oxygen into those joints. Inhale, lift the chest, swim the arms all the way around, and then back out and down again. Let's do a few of these deep dives. Inhale, lift, swimming, arms out to a T, and then back around behind you. Notice if the shoulders are happy. You can always lift up a little higher when you're doing your rotations if they're not used to them yet. So straight arms if you can, bend the elbows if you need. And inhale, lift, swim it all the way around, and we're going to stay here in pulse. So the most important thing that we're working on, you can sit cross-legged if it hurts your knees or lower back to be in child's pose, but what we're doing is we're undulating the spine and creating this rhythm wave running through the back of the heart. So we're rolling the energy all the way up, pressing down with the arms, and then inhale, arching. Exhale, press down. We're not quite rolling in all the way. We're going to keep our head in line with our spine, but we're undulating back and forth from the heart, loosening up all that stickiness behind the heart. And at the same time, pull your shoulder blades down your back. This is called plugging in the shoulder joint. I'm going to make sure the arms stay plugged in by engaging the lats, pulling the shoulder blades down the back, gently arching, pulsing here, and then one more deep dive. Forehead towards the ground. Let the hips wiggle a little bit from side to side. Maybe a gentle rhythm wave happens on its own. I opened up my knees slightly to support some more dynamic movement. Just let it feel good. I know the hands get tired of holding on, so release and just roll down into a grounded child's pose without the leg loops whenever you need. 5 more deep breaths here, wherever you are. Free flow for a little while, see what feels good. What does the body like most from what we did today? Couple more breaths. And then when you're ready, we're going to inhale, pull yourself up into a bicep curl. I like to change into a wrist wrap so I can lean back into a camel pose. And then reach up again and lower back down. Inhale, up. Exhale, lower the hips. Good work for the quads and the biceps. Inhale, lift. And lower. With control, really use the arms, lifting from the chest and making sure the neck is happy, squeezing the knees towards one another. Last time, inhale, lift, and exhale, deep dive. We're going to go ahead and let you rest here, get some water, take a bathroom break, whatever you need. We're going to come back with a couple more sequences, working with the hips again, going back and forth from arms and shoulders to hips and lower back. So yeah, I'll index this so you have a really good shoulder sequence to do, working with the energy lines, working with the spirals, coming into the full dynamic movement of opening up the chest, working down into the fingertips, aligning the head with the spine. Thank you for joining me during this virtual training weekend. And we will be back in just a moment with some more hips.